Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Sanchez. I'm just jumping on real quick. I know it's late, it's 10:30. I don't know who's going to jump on with me, but I felt like I wanted to go live for a couple of reasons. I know that I have my challenge tomorrow for women in my private Facebook group. So you should be able to see in this live that I'm promoting a group that I have for women, and I believe I have 1,600 women in that group. So I want to make sure that I share that. It starts at 7:15 in the morning. It's a self-love challenge. It's a 3-day challenge. So for the next 3 days, I'll be teaching and asking questions to women about, do they love themselves and what self-love really means and how you can embrace more self-love. So I wanted to jump on and share that. I also wanted to come on here real quick and share that I do have a mastermind this Saturday, co-ed life and business mastermind. So if you have a business, whether you're in real estate, whether you have a traditional, business gig that you have, whatever the case may be, I do have a mastermind coming up. But the reason why I'm really jumping on is this, because I know the way that I titled it was you just never know who you're inspiring. And I was like, man, I'm going to go live because I got home and got on my phone and I'm in a lifeguard group. So this is how I came across it. So I was a lifeguard for years. I was a swim coach. I was a water polo coach. You know, did the whole competitive thing in swimming, and worked for the park district for a good years. I mean, I worked at Humboldt Park. I worked at Portage Park. I worked at Shavona Park. I worked at different park districts for the Chicago Park District, right? And I was, like I said, I was a swim coach and a water polo coach and did aqua aerobics, all that stuff. And I always wondered about the kids that I coached, like 20 years later or 17 years later. I always wondered whatever happened to my kids, because there were times that I would, hey Angel, how are you? There were times I remember when I was a coach, just like any good coach, if you guys have had good coaches, right, in any sport, what do? Sometimes they buy stuff for you. They take you to eat. I remember I would buy them McDonald's, right? Like if I took them to like a swim meet or a water polo game. And sometimes I would take them in my truck. So at that time, I think I had a green Suburban. I had a huge Suburban. It was one of those 90s Suburbans. I think it was a 97 Chevy Suburban. And I remember I just jammed that truck with like 10 kids in the back, because at that time some of the kids couldn't travel, right? We were going to the games were usually at Whitney Young, and we were on the north side of Chicago. And I remember some of the kids, they couldn't go, so I had to just throw them all in my truck and say, "Let's go, go to the game." And then afterwards, I would buy the McDonald's. And I know that was a treat, because if you're a kid and it's a treat to get McDonald's, especially when you're younger. And so, anyways, I'm going through, this lifeguard group, and I'm just kind of glancing at who's commenting on this post of someone who was a lifeguard that became a cop, and she passed away. Rest in peace. And I was just kind of glancing who was commenting, who was liking, to see who I recognize, and I recognized this name, and I was like, I know who this is. I was like, I know this last name and I know this first name. So this grown man now, but was a kid. Um, he was one of four kids, and I remember teaching him how to swim when he was like 7 or 8. And I remember and one, mind you, I didn't like teaching kids how to swim. I prefer dealing with the adults. But I remember I would teach the kids how to swim, and I remember he was in the swim lesson, so I remember teaching him how to swim. He got good, ended up getting into the swim team in that team, and got even better. And I just remember like one of the things, and I saw his name. I was like, "Are you the kid?" Oh no, am I freezing? I hope not. Let me know if anyone else sees if I'm freezing or not. And I remember, well, no people are viewing, so maybe I am frozen. And I remember I wrote him and I was like, "Are you the kid that I used to coach?" He was like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "I recognize your name." Angel, if you're watching, let me know if I'm still freezing. And he was like, "Yeah, that's me." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm back." What was the last thing I said? I was saying how, I was coaching the kids, right? And this particular kid, I remember teaching him how to swim. I remember getting him into the actual swim team, and then I remember actually coaching him in the swim team. So here's the part that like really like today I just feel so blessed knowing this, right? He actually told me what happened with his life. We connected. Now he's a 27-year-old man, and I'm talking to him, and he tells me, that I helped him fall in love with swimming, and it's a special place in his heart and his siblings' heart. It was one of four kids that I had in the team. And I'm sitting here like, man, at that time, I was just rough. I was rougher than what I am now. So can you only imagine? He even wrote you, I remember you mad all the time. So it's like, oh my God, I was mad all the time. Not that I was trying to be mad, but I guess as a coach, when you're in that coach mindset, I must have been more aggressive, especially with the kids, because I needed to keep them in check. I remember that I was always always stern with the kids because I wanted them to be successful, especially if they were my swimmers. And I remember even like the water polo. Now I was a swimmer. I wasn't a great water polo player. I could play it, but I wasn't a water polo player. My sister was great at water polo. I was not. I was a competitive swimmer. So just to see what happened to this young man's life, again, years later, I always thought about these kids. And I always wonder, whatever happened to these kids? I wonder whatever happened to these kids. He writes me today, he said, I ended up playing D1 water polo at Santa Clara, and then D1 All-American, and then was a player of the year in Illinois in high school. So I'm sitting here like, damn, like I thought to myself, like, you have no idea like what happens when you influence somebody in their life, and to hear 17 years later, 20 years later, to kind of get an update from one of my players from back in the day when I would coach him. And I'm telling you, he was a kid, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think maybe about 10 is when I left, but he was little. And now to hear that he was playing, you know, and how he even wrote like it was because of me that he fell in love with the sport, him and his siblings. And that to me, and I think he even wrote that one of his brothers is a water polo coach in a college as well. So I'm thinking to myself, like, you just have to plant that little seed. Sometimes you just have to plant that little seed in somebody's heart and just believe in them just a little bit, right? And that just cultivates something massive. Like, I had no idea that this young man is ended up doing that years now. Like, it's a blessing to me to hear that now. So I'm just encouraging you guys, especially for the ones that are watching, right? Like, you just never know who you're inspiring, who you're supporting, especially the fact that they were kids, right? That they were kids. Oh, thank you, Deanna, for sending me stars. I appreciate you. Right? That this is just amazing to me. And he even said that water polo and swimming gave him opportunities. This is why I love sports. This is why I love coaching, right? Because to me, it's almost like you're setting someone up for success. You have no idea what you're planting in this person, but down the road, years later, is when you can finally see the seed, and the harvest. You could see what actually happened. So again, Shane, if you're watching, I'm so excited that we reconnected on social media. Please tell your family, hi. I'm definitely super proud of you guys, all of you guys, because all of these were my kids. All of these were my swimmers, my and again, I wasn't a water polo player. I knew how to play the game. See, and that's the thing, like, people don't get it. To be a good coach, yeah, you need to know how to play the game, but the coaching in itself is a skill. Being a coach is a skill in itself. So I didn't have to be the best swimmer, right? Because I wasn't the best swimmer. I was a competitive swimmer. I did beat some kids, when I was in high school, but I wasn't the best swimmer out there. But I know that I was a good coach, right? And knowing that you're a good coach, that's a skill. When you can help cultivate skills in other people, That's what's powerful. That's what's amazing, right? You don't have to understand the craft 100% fully. Sure, did you have to play? Yeah, you had to play. But that doesn't mean that like you, when you have kids, you always want your kids to be even more successful than you. So I'm just feeling like a proud mom right now because my swim kids who I remember again taking them in my Suburban, taking them to the games because they couldn't get a ride. And I just remember sitting there watching them, yelling at them. I was mean. I was mean. And he confirmed that. He said, I remember you angry a lot. But it was because I was drilling them and I was really preparing them for life because my coaches weren't easy on me when I was in sports. Like, life is hard. So you need coaches to be a little rougher around the edges in your life to kind of tell you what's up, because if not, you're not going to be able to handle or withstand real situations in the real world. So that's how I kind of carried myself with my kids. So again, I just want to share that with you guys. I hope this inspires someone. Don't feel like what you do in someone's life, even if it's very minimal, you have no idea how much impact you're making in someone's life. Even if it's something just a positive word, maybe it's working with someone, and maybe it's even the kindness, right? But for me to 20 years later to follow up with one of my swim players and one of my water polo players, and to know that he was a D1 athlete, in college, and that he was inspired by me, someone who again was a swimmer and a water polo player, but I wasn't that great. I was a good coach though. To hear how much he excelled in life, that is a blessing to me. So I hope you guys don't take these opportunities to bless someone or inspire someone or pour into someone lightly, because you do not know how you can impact someone's life. I mean, the fact that he even said like swimming and water polo gave him all these opportunities, right? To me, it's kind of like, damn, I had that little impact in his life that actually was a big harvest down the road. So again, just wanted to share that with you guys. Friendly reminder, if you are, don't forget, that was my story. But for the ladies, I have my self-love challenge tomorrow. Wanted to come out here and share it. 7:15 a.m. I need to go to sleep because I got to wake up early in my private Facebook group. We're going to go through 3 days of working on self-love in our life. So you don't want to miss it. And it will only be on that video for 24 hours. So I do not play when I do challenges in my private Facebook group. And also I have a mastermind on Saturday. So make sure that if you guys want to come to my business co-ed mastermind, I only have 10 spots for that. I'm going to go first to the people that came last time, and then afterwards I'll reach out to anyone else that I want to invite to that group. But this is an invite only event. Okay, so thank you so much. God bless you guys, and see you guys soon.